People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much first and foremost for all the birthday messages and things. Obviously my birthday was on Monday and you lot are still wishing me happy birthday and it's ridiculous, but thank you very much for doing that. But I'm back again, business as usual. The world keeps spinning. I've taken a day off, but it's back to bringing out videos more or less every day when they come. Now, if you've been paying attention to Arsenal reports, now we've heard a lot in relation to players taking salary cuts, Arsenal's financial landscape, or you are thinking it's almost an accident waiting to happen, almost like we're on the tip of an iceberg, or it's the straw that's about to break the camel's back. We know we can talk about several things, but Arsenal have released a statement today, people, and before I get into it, more or less the executive team have taken a cut, and we were calling for this. The executives, what specifically Hosfami, Raul Sanye, people above Arteta directly, on one hand, I do believe, they've got a lead from the front, but on the other hand, they're still employees. Personally, I'm looking at Stan Kroenke because it shouldn't be employees employing employees. Obviously, there's a bit of loggerheads between every member of the playing staff and taking cuts and how it's going to be paid and all of these sort of, I keep saying cuts, deferrals. And you was looking at it about 24 hours ago saying, if anything, why aren't the executives team doing that? So this is going to put more pressure on the players if there isn't any already. I still maintain a lot of what I believe is that people shouldn't have to take pay cuts until the owner does something about it, because 10 million. If you really care about the Arsenal Football Club, and Arsenal Football Club, if you're honest, in terms of investments, it's been effing amazing for Stan Kroenke. Not officially put his money into it, doubling in profit, gonna be a family heirloom. It's pennies on the pound, essentially, pennies on the dollar, essentially, injecting some money and saving everyone, regardless of what FFP have to say, because UEFA would face a serious backlash if they was to cripple any team or any owner. You look at City, who are spoken of financial doping and things, rightly or wrongly. If they were to inject their peas and do something, you can't put them and they're in trouble for something like this. But moving forward, Arsenal's executive team have volunteered to take a pay cut, more than a third of their earnings, as the club warned that the current crisis represents one of the biggest challenges in its 134 history. The decision of the club's executive leaders to take a voluntary pay cut comes as Arsenal obviously struggle to reach an agreement with the players, who have so far rejected a proposal of approximately a 12.5 pay cut. It's about 14 members of the executive team, so obviously we're not going to know everybody by face, but you can imagine Hosfami, Raul Sanye, Vinay, I assume Edu, and people along them lines there, people. The official statement, and it's a lengthy one, let's just crack on with it, really and truly. It's not a lengthy one, but it's a lengthy one. So yeah, what are we doing? Our owners, Kroenke and Sports and Entertainment. Sorry, let me start again. Our owners, Kroenke, Sports and Entertainment, are fully committed to supporting Arsenal through this challenging time. So inject the cash. We are carefully controlling our costs. We have stopped most capital spend, and our discretion operating expenditure is being strictly controlled. Now, these are all natural things. If you're in uncertain times for any business, you're going to tighten in what you're spending. You're going to monitor the outgoings a bit more. You're going to look to cut costs where you can and be due diligent. Cool. Early this month, our executive team volunteered to waive more than a third of their earnings over the next 12 months. We are hugely grateful for the support of our people. Their togetherness and their resolve knows no bound, even though very many of them face the challenge of having no work to do while the season is suspended. We are fortunate to be able to count on their commitment and cooperation at this time. And obviously this is going to put more pressure on the team to reach an agreement. I'm not going to lie, I still maintain everything I've said in my other vid. Credit to the executive team. Again, I don't think players will have an issue with pay cuts, but I do think until their agents have been included in talks, then they shouldn't get involved. It's very sneaky when a club is trying to get you to agree to something where you haven't been properly advised. It's like a mortgage seller, or whatever the official title for someone that sells a mortgage. You need to, obviously you can get a mortgage, but I'm so sure by law in England you need to be advised to some degree about such. And imagine if you're not, and you go into that and you see, oh, I've been swindled in some way. You need people who understand things, and agents should be around this sort of thing. But credit to the executive team for doing such, especially over the next 12 months. And again, this puts more pressure on the club and the players to come to an agreement. We are hugely grateful for the support of our people. Their togetherness and resolve knows no bounds. Oh, sorry, I read that bit already, people. Sorry. We are fortunate to be able to count on their commitment and cooperation at this time. We are in ongoing contact with our employees through video conferences, newsletters, and team meetings. We have made it clear to them that we are not considering redundancies and we are fully focused on protecting their well-being, jobs and salaries. Now that's the most important thing for me, because you know the executives, the players, again, they're employees, but it's the people that really keep this club going are the admin staff, the people that dot I's and cross T's, the people that cut the grass and make the Emirates look all nice, the match day staff, and the many different, there's staff that work on a match day, but all week they've got something to do, whether that's, I don't know, tickets. I keep saying admin because that's the best way to go around it, finance or whatever. We didn't get to become this big. Obviously, what we did as a football club, winning trophies, obviously Wenger coming in, obviously we've had some good players along the years. That has helped us push our levels up as Arsenal Football Club, definitely since Wenger came in. And those of you that are older than me, have seen, Graham and things, and us elevate slowly and slowly. That's all great. The players in the club did that, but it's the fans as well, and more importantly, it's the people that have been working at this club that have allowed us to get there to this level and get beyond. You're nothing without the people that help the football club run. You can't run the club by itself. It sounds extreme, but people might look down on cleaners. But to illustrate how important being a cleaner is, imagine if Arsenal disrespected cleaners to the extent that no cleaner in London said cleaners in London said they're coming to fix this place. Eventually the Emirates, like in Canary Wharf or something, if the same example applies, will become infested by rodents. Then no one's coming to the Emirates. It's getting shut down by health and safety. Now obviously that's a bit extreme. I'm trying to illustrate the point that it doesn't matter if you're the executive or a part-time cleaner. We're all in this together. We are all one family. And there's honest people that, earning modest salaries, minimum wage salaries, normal salary. I say normal. It depends on what your reality of normal is, so I'm not going to get into figures, but that's the best thing, because for me, anything can change, but no redundancy means peace of mind. There's people with kids out there, there's people with loved ones depending on them. It's sad to say, but you look at the statistics of average savings in English households in England. Okay, I was about to say London. Apologies, people. The average thing isn't that high. Text me. Apologies, people. It's not that high, and there's literally honest people that are dependent on that. So that's the most encouraging thing for me, that they keep their jobs, whoever you are, wherever you are. And obviously you look at Academy Ground. I keep saying Emirates, but you got to look at people that work at London Coley or people that work at Haylen doing these sort of things, protecting the next generation sort of thing, people. So that's the most promising thing for me. And it went on to say, we are fully focused on protecting their well-being. Sorry, people. All our employees. Let me zoom in. All our employees are receiving their full salaries and we plan to continue to do this. We are not currently intending to use the government's furlough scheme, because they've probably seen a majority of Premier League clubs backtrack on that, and the backlash it's received from not just the football fan world but other people, which is quite sad. And when this is all said and done, I think some clubs have to look at themselves morally. I think some politicians and just the government in England as well, how we've handled this whole situation. I think there needs to be a nationwide inquest, and people need to really look in the mirror and think about their conduct. Look at what Mike Ashley and the guy who owns the Weatherspoons franchise was doing. So that's nice to see no one's being furlonged and they're not on 80% of their salary, which sadly a lot of people I know have felt victim of. Obviously I'm victim of losing my role as well, but it is what it is. We keep smiling, people, we keep going. But I'm still happy to hear not everyone's been affected by this. He said, we are extending our commitment to pay casual workers our payroll from the end of April to the end of May. For our matchday casual workers, this means they will be paid for all 4 Premier League games that have been postponed, and will be paid again should they work at these games once rearranged. And that's a touch of class from the club, because they paid them twice for in theory where you wouldn't be. So that's a touch of class from the club, and these are the sort of things that make me proud to be an Arsenal fan, people. Not going to get into that one as well, but they've mentioned commercial partners, but they've said, our players have been very busy during this difficult period, working at home on both their fitness and tactical work while training is suspended. Over the past 10 days, we have been in discussion with them around potential financial challenges ahead and how we're planning for those. These are productive and ongoing conversations about how our players might support their club in an appropriate way. We have not and will not make any comment on this matter until these private discussions have concluded. And what have they told you? Again, this is, I wouldn't say it's the club being sneaky, but it's a lovely statement from the club. They've made, we've heard of this club being at loggerheads. The executives have taken the cut. We're not going to hear nothing from Stan Kroenke. We've heard a touch of class with the club protecting wages and more or less double paying staff. Now they've put the ball at the feet of the players now. What are you doing? We know players on a separate basis have been doing donations and collectively giving salaries with the Premier League, but now they're looking at them. For me personally, I don't think even the executives, it shouldn't, I get it. If the club can die, extreme, but if the club can die if people don't take cuts, man, them have to take cuts. But you're looking at the owner. True business owners understand that sometimes you have to make sacrifices, and someone that's worth 10 billion shouldn't be asking executives, shouldn't be asking players. And that's just me anyways, people. So yeah, they've publicly said that, there's going to be no talk on anything until something comes out, and they've confirmed what, early discussions have said online, that we are in talks to find an agreement with players over deferrals, wage cuts, or whatever the club's actually planning, and we'll see in due course what's going to happen. Now, in relation to the fans, he said, we know our millions of fans around the world are missing the game as much as we are. We'll return to action in due course, and that will be a memorable day. However, many of you are directly impacted in terms of health and financial uncertainty. We are receiving many questions about the conclusion of this season and at the start of next. In relation to the current season, 2019-20, tickets held for postponed matches will be valid once these games are rearranged along with the Premier League, people, which it said. It went on to continue to speak about tickets and things like that, people. Again, there's no need to really read out word by word all of that. An interesting bit, and probably the closing statement, is in relation to our community, because similar to the people that keep this club alive, we're nothing without our community, sort of thing. He said, our important work in the community, both locally and abroad, continue in these challenging times, whether helping to deliver 15 tonnes of essential supplies in Islington, assisting the NHS, or helping those as far afield as Jordan and Indonesia via the Arsenal Foundation. We are working hard to support those in need. We know that the Arsenal family will stay united throughout this global crisis. We will get through this and return to watching the game we all love as soon as it is safe to do so. Take care and stay safe. And these are the sort of things that make me proud to be an Arsenal fan. When you're hearing that we're looking after staff, people are not being furloughed. This is the sort of thing $1 billion in terms of worth club should be doing. A club that is a top 6 team. Yes, our financial health, depending on how you look at it, is concerning with the wage bill, even and obviously with uncertainty just in relation to the transfer market, how we move players on, getting back to going, because Arsenal, we are heavily reliant on self-sustainability. So with that, match day revenue is vital to us. A genius can work out. No one's going to the games because of this epidemic. No one's paying for tickets. No one's got seats on bums. No one is buying hot dogs and beers and match day scarves and the shirts and all of these sort of things that help the clubs pay all this money. And this is the thing that makes me proud to be an Arsenal fan. In times like this, it's where you stand is which people will remember. And I think not just Arsenal, a lot of people, me and you, people watching this, us, organisations, big or small, politicians, public or private eye, when this is done, all said and done, everyone will need to look in the mirror and think about how they've conducted themselves, how they've treated their fellow man and woman. If you can't necessarily donate money or time, what have you done to raise awareness or do something for someone? I'm not saying you have to do any of these things, because I'm not saying I'm out there picket fencing. I've donated a little bit to charity. I've done what I can, but I'm not going to sit here and say I'm doing the most or the best or whatever. But there's going to be a time from a moral perspective. I know a lot of these people don't have consciences, but people are going to have to look at themselves, people. In times like this, we must stand together. And where you stand in times like this, people will not forget it. So I'm proud with some of the things I said. Hopefully, I'm seen and read. Hopefully in relation to the players in the club and the deferrals and the wage cuts or whatever they want to shape it as, there's an agreement.